Hey, so I'm home alone. Wonderful. If you all have watched any or many of my videos, you know I have 5 kids. I'm not home alone a lot. Someday I'm going to declutter that. But for now, I'll turn around. Mopportunity. When my youngest daughter was a baby, I call that the hardest year of my life. And I've had very difficult years. I have spent time in a psychiatric unit, and I wasn't working there. That was rough. That was a hard year. But the year that Mary was a baby was the hardest year of my life. I felt like I was working first, second, and third shift. That was the year that I started writing the word accept on my hand, ACCEPT, to remind me to accept my current circumstances, the heaviness of it, the difficulty of it, the fact that I didn't like my choices. Philippians 2:14, do all things without complaining and without arguing. I refuse to complain, especially since kid number 3, kid number 4, everybody was like, y'all are crazy. Don't you know what caused that? Or what? The funniest one I heard over and over, don't y'all know what causes that? Here in our small town, Kentucky. The funniest one was we were at a basketball game. We were actually running the program, the basketball program. There was a day where my newborn baby, Franklin, kid number 3, spent 13 hours in the basketball gym. And I thought that was probably a long day for that kid. Anyways, we were at the basketball tournament. And this friend of ours found out that we were having baby number 4. And he said, y'all need a TV. I thought that was funny. I thought that was creative. I had not heard that one before. Like, we needed something to do other than reproduce. But I'm so glad we did reproduce 5 times, and I'm so glad that God gave us Mary. When Mary was a baby, I didn't want to complain, but it was so hard because I was exhausted. And our kids are all different ages, and we are highly involved in sports. And at that time, we had middle school kids and elementary kids and a baby, and we ran and we ran and we ran. And we were still involved in lots and lots of what God was leading us into. And the very next year, Mary's second year of life, the pastor at our church called me and asked me if I would consider being the youth minister, and I accepted that role for a year, and that was Mary's second year of life, and it was easier, even though I was teaching school, raising 5 kids, and being a youth minister, although I only taught school for 3 weeks because I teach special education, and the school's called to see if I would be interested in coming back out of retirement. I took a maternity leave with kid number 4 and never went back. But after kid number 5, our town was desperate for special ed teachers, and I did go back for 21 days. That was very difficult. And between that and being a youth minister and raising 5 kids, I prayerfully discerned that God only had me do that for 3 weeks, probably so that I could see what I saw, and we pulled our kids out of the school district. So, I digress. When Mary was a baby, I used to write the word ACCEPT on my hand to remind myself to accept how hard it was, accept the circumstances, accept what just happened. Whether I wanted it to or not, it just happened. Whether I wanted it to or not, that kid just puked everywhere, or that I just changed her diaper and now she's got orange diarrhea all the way up her back into her hair. Anybody with kids knows what I'm talking about. Accept that I'm exhausted, accept that I just blew my diet, whatever diet I was on at the time, just accept it. Acceptance is a stage of grief, and I wanted to move through the grief so that I could get to the next kid to do the next task, but it was hard. And I used to tell my husband, I said, I feel like as long as my eyes are open, I'm working. And I've dealt with depression before, and I was fortunately, by the grace of God, not depressed. I was just exhausted, because if there were depression involved, then I would have not wanted to open my eyes. But I did. So by the grace of God, we figured it out. We worked it out. And every once in a while, I got to skip a shift, and Greg would do even more than he does. And we would not have 5 kids if he didn't do all that he did. But that was the year that I coined the term Mopportunity. A Mopportunity is an opportunity to mop. It's an opportunity to make things better than they were 10 minutes ago. So when we would carry groceries in, and I was having let's see, at that point I would have had a baby, a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 9-year-old and an 11-year-old. We might have been bringing groceries in, and the 4-year-old might have dropped the gallon of milk. And there were, I used to take pictures and show friends of mine, and we would swap photos of Mopportunities. And you know, maybe the 4-year-old would drop the gallon of milk, and there'd be milk everywhere, and kids screaming, and me screaming probably, and or not. I was sort of in shock. I was just like, okay, I accept this. But I'm just remembering times where there'd probably be milk up underneath the refrigerator, and we're still bringing in groceries, and. But I realized Deepak Chopra taught me years ago. I remember I heard him say on an interview or somewhere that we don't have to react. So if the dog runs in the door and knocks over the lamp, and the lamp breaks, we got to clean the lamp up. The dog runs in, knocks over the lamp breaks. We can freak out about it and start crying or screaming or yelling, or we can just skip all that. We can skip the emotional roller coaster and just start cleaning it up. And I aim to remind myself that often, that I can skip the freak out, because then I have to recover from the freak out, and I can just start cleaning it up. So that was the year that I realized, you know, in all seriousness, when something happens, an accident, a mess is made, it's truly a Mopportunity. It's an opportunity to mop. It's an opportunity to make things better than they were before. And we can do this with our own behaviors. We can do this in our own lives, messes in our lives that we just think are maybe hideous or awful or ugly or unsightly, that we wouldn't want other people to see. These are opportunities for God to do a work in us that we can never do. These are thorns in our flesh that He can, Romans 8:28. He can work all things out for the good of those called according to His purpose. So let me encourage you to see messes as opportunities, either for you or God or both of you, to make better. I'm home alone, and instead of kicking my feet up and watching some YouTube videos or news or America's Funniest Home Videos, that's a good one. That's a good stress reliever. I am working through my Emily's Rules, my CCF. I had a huge day today with my kids, taking one of them to a doctor's appointment, and then he and I we went 14 different places, and then another kid called and said, I need to get to baseball, and then they both wanted dinner, and big day with the kids. I'm home alone, not for long. And I'm in the middle of an opportunity. So I have this bowl of grease. I had put tinfoil down in the bowl. I saw this little hack to catch the grease, to let it solidify. But I didn't put enough tinfoil, and it all spilled into the bowl anyways. But it did solidify, and I just now went to pour it or dump it into the trash can, and I have a black bag and a black trash can, and I could not see that the bag was not hooked around the trash can. So, Mopportunity. It's an opportunity for me to make that trash can even cleaner than it was. So, and like I said, in all seriousness, if something gets spilled on the floor, especially during Mary's first year of life, if something got spilled and I needed to clean it, my whole floor might not be clean, but that one spot is going to get clean. So I figured this is a win. Things are better than they were before, and I'm going to see it as an opportunity. James chapter 1, verses 2 and 3. And by the way, the Woe Is She readings right now, we're reading the book of James, and I've had several people say that they love the book of James. James, Jesus' brother, he's very straight to the point. Very to the point, very straightforward. And he says in chapter 1, verses 2 and 3, to consider it joy. All the trials, all the tribulations, because they test our faith, and the testing of our faith produces perseverance. I'm paraphrasing. James chapter 1, verses 2 and 3. Here's my Mopportunity. That is beef fat. All right, so that's it for tonight. With this quiet home and such a great day, and getting a lot done around here, taking pictures for my photo food diary video, my photo food diary video that'll be out next Thursday. I'm going to get back at it, and this will be video number 2. I think there'll be 3 more tonight. I love you dearly. Let's talk again very soon. Good night.